So, we're going to talk about backing up your stuff. Okay? Now, I say PC, but a Mac is a personal computer too. Does anybody have Macs in here? Okay. I think I ask you guys that every time you come here, don't I? Okay, yeah. So, but what Macs, PCs, whatever, it's your computer, and I hear a lot about cloud backing up, and I hear all of these things, and the cloud is great, back stuff up. Carbonite, Dropbox, all this stuff is great, but I'm partly cloudy. Okay, all right. Cloud is awesome, but when you really have a disaster and you got to download all your stuff from the cloud, okay, it's going to take you days. You might never get it back. I've got a horror story. A business customer has been paying, maybe I shouldn't say the name, but it's an online service that's very popular, and for backing up, and it turns out they weren't backing her business up right. She didn't know. She just installed the software and assumed it was working, and their server crashed. And it took a lawsuit for them because they were like, well, too bad. That's too bad. That's just how it goes. But she, being a tax attorney, a tax accountant, got attorneys, and they got after them, and they said, okay, send us. So they physically sent them the hard drives out of the computer, which is typically a data recovery is usually $5,000 to $10,000 to try to do that. They were forced by lawsuit to take the drives and recover them, and they did that for them. But it took that much. So don't put all your faith in the cloud, okay? Stay partly cloudy like me, all right? So anyways, how much do you use your computers? I mean, everybody uses their computers. And how about your phones? Everybody's got pictures on their phones, right? Where are they backing up? Are they only on your phone? So what we do with our phone is plug our phone into our computer, and we sync our phone and dump everything onto the computer, and then the computer gets backed up with the stuff you guys are going to see in this class. Because what if you dropped your phone? Guy just called me, and unfortunately he dropped he was in his pocket. He was out wading in the water and doing a bunch of stuff. He was out there for half an hour, and he didn't know he had his phone in his pocket. I was like, oh no, it was ruined, completely ruined, and he had never, unfortunately for him, never put them, and they're gone. So the only things he could recover was he had a few things stored in the iCloud. Okay, so is everybody scared now? You got your attention on all this? Yeah, good. So the things that you guys use on your computers that are really important: your pictures, okay, your videos from last month's class, right? Emails. How many of you still use an email program? I use it every day. I'd hate to lose some of those, especially for business people. It's really tough. Okay. And I see hard drives going so often. I mean, in this room of 25 of us or whatever there's going to be one person that's going to have a hard drive go bad. It's going to happen. Used to never go bad when I was young, which that's longer and longer ago now as things go on, right? My mom says when you count back in decades, you're getting old, so I'm there. But when I was young, they made these hard drives so ridiculously with such good tolerance and everything, they never went bad. Well, they don't do that anymore. They stamp them out like popcorn. They're cheap, and what goes with cheap is quality. You just can't keep them as good as they once were. But of course, they used to cost 10 times as much. So it's going to happen. You're going to have a hard drive problem sometime. So you really should be doing a backup. And it's not just about your pictures. Okay. What about all the programs on your computer? Does anybody know where their disk is for Microsoft Word? Nope. Me neither. Actually, I don't. So to be able to rebuild your computer to where it is right now is really important, especially, has anybody heard the term ransomware? It's this kind of new stuff. It's not a virus. What happens is you go to a website typically, and it fools you into thinking you need to download the new Flash player or something, and people click on it, and that's not what it's doing. All of a sudden, it encrypts your entire hard drive, and all your stuff is gone. Unless you call the number on the screen and give them $300. In the mob, they call that good business. It's just good business to pay them, right? That's kind of extortion. But that's really new. It's been around for a long time, but it's become real popular this last year. There's been 2 or 3 waves of stuff hitting people, and there's no recourse. It's your stuff is gone. I can't get it back. So
popped up on my screen recently. and kind of panicked, like, oh.
Yep.
And the first and second thing I did was just click out the whole page.
Yep.
And it's gone.
Yep.
I'm having a problem.
Then that's a good point. He's on a Mac, and he got this scary screen that came up, and he was able to close his, probably Safari, I'm guessing, is what you're. So like Google Chrome or Internet Explorer on a Mac, that's called Safari. So he was able to close his browser, and the problem went away. A lot of times I see it where the little X's, you can't click on it. There's nothing you can do. It doesn't work. So you have to really physically power off the computer, and then hopefully that goes away. But if it's on long enough and gets in deep enough, that's the kind of stuff that happens. It's called ransomware. So anyways, it's not about your pictures because they'd be gone, but all your software is gone. All your videos, everything you got on your computer is just gone. And if you don't have a backup, there's nothing. The stuff that we're going to talk about will protect you against this ransomware. And the two things that really happen most often is, one, your hard drive fails in your computer. And two, Windows does some kind of goofy upgrade. How many people have gone through the Windows 10 upgrade in the last year or seen it? Yeah, okay. A lot of times that doesn't work. And it gets stuck halfway, and then your computer doesn't start. It just happens. Well, this will help you from a corrupted Windows too. All right? So what do you do if your hard drive dies? I mean, what does that mean? Yeah, call me. That works. Okay, class dismissed. You guys can go home. All right. So it isn't just the programs and things. It's the time for me to take a computer, rebuild it, put your Windows back on it, get all your files copied. I mean, you're going to be spending 3 hours of my time. It's going to take a long time to just rebuild it and get it back where it was. But if we do the things that we're going to do in this class, if we have time, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to destroy a computer and rebuild it right up there on the screen. And then you're going to see what I'm talking about. I can literally rebuild your computer within 20 minutes. And that's it, if you follow these steps. So if you got hit with ransomware, big deal. As long as you had a backup from last week, we can rebuild it to last week. Does that make sense? Okay, this is really good stuff, and the cost of this is zero. It's all free software. Okay? I'm cheap. I like free stuff, Okay. So we're going to talk about two different kinds of backups. Okay? And I do this in every class because making a full backup of your computer is awesome, but it takes a while. It takes a long time. It can take an hour. My computer takes about 4 hours because I got so much crap on it from 20 years, right? But a normal computer, you could get by with doing a full backup and then maybe just backing up your pictures and your documents. So you could do a full backup of your whole computer once a month. And then you should be doing your kind of like your quick backup or your data backup at least once a week. It depends on how often you use your computer. I type all the time and I do all kinds of stuff, so mine backs up in the middle of the night every night for me. So that way, if something disastrous happened, I could rebuild the computer and then I could just copy some files over and I'd be right back where I am right now. Okay? So we're going to go through a free program called Karen's Replicator. She wrote this software. I've been using it for like 20 years. It's free, and the download link is at the end. You can get it, or I can get it for you. But what I wanted to talk about was these. How many people got one of these little USB sticks, right? Everybody? I think they're issued at birth like a cell phone nowadays, right? All right. So these things, I got several of them. I carry a pocket full of them around. Those are awesome if you're using them, but you should not be relying on these for your permanent backup solution. You should not be, okay? They're not made for being permanent backup. First off, they cost $3, okay? And second, just by the way they're designed, my 8 gig backup stick is really about 20 gigs because they can never write to the same sector ever, the same. So it has to have more stuff available. So they are going to fail. They're not made to be permanent storage. So that's one thing. You guys ever seen one of these? It's a little USB hard drive. You can see these. You can get them for $50 anywhere. Golden. This is the money right here. Okay? This is my cloud right here. Okay? Because I can plug this into this laptop here in front of you and I can back the whole thing up. And I've got it on this. This is a real true hard drive made to last forever. Okay? Except if I drop it or something stupid. But it's going to last, where these little sticks, they're just not gonna. Okay? Also, this is, many times faster than a little USB stick. Many times. Okay? So I get that question a lot. What should I be using? You should be using one of these. Okay?
Paul, what did you call that again?
This is an external hard drive, sometimes called a USB hard drive. Okay? And you can get them in sizes. If you walk into the store, they have sizes on them. 500 gig is more than enough, if you can even find one that small anymore. But you'll see them listed in terabytes nowadays. There's a 1 terabyte, a 2 terabyte. A terabyte is just 1,000 gigabytes. So 500 gigabytes, 700 gigabytes, 800. 1,000 gigabytes is 1 terabyte. But that's not cool enough, so they call it terabyte. So terabyte's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of storage for everybody. Okay? I think you can get a terabyte one of those for 60, 70 bucks. Really a good thing to have. Okay? We're going to talk about 2 programs, Karen's Replicator and Macrium Reflect, which is an imaging software. It clones your PC. Now, there's a difference between backing up and cloning. Cloning your PC is a process that's been around forever, but it takes your entire hard drive and records it to a file. So everything, all your documents, Windows, everything is all recorded over. On a Mac, they call that a time machine. You guys have that software? If you don't, you could buy one of these hard drives, and Time Machine is either on your Mac or it's available, but it does the same thing. It takes a complete image of your computer and then little snapshots as you move forward. So it's really good software. But same idea, an external hard drive and using a backup software. But on a PC, which is what I use and what most of us still use, is it's going to be called Macrium Reflect. And I'll have a download link at the end. So I could talk about this all day long, but it's easier to just skim it and then show it to you. You guys okay with that? Because there's a lot of information up here, but you can read all of this in the PowerPoint and put yourself to sleep real quick, when this class is over sometime. All right? All right, who's got Windows 7 out there? I still have it on a couple. Okay. Anybody got Windows 8 or 8.1? Okay. Windows 10 is probably the most popular now. They're really pushing that. Okay. They did something weird. They bundled some really good software with Windows 7. So I used to teach the class with that software. Well, then they took it out of Windows 8.1. They just took it away. It was just, nobody knew it was gone. It was just gone. So that's why I went to Macrium Reflect, because it's something you can put on any of these. 7, 8, 10, it works. Is anybody still running Windows XP? Still a couple of them? They make Macrium for Windows XP out. You can still get it, and it works really good. Okay?
So, Paul, when you configured our computers from the box that we brought in,
Yep.
And what did you use?
Boy, it's tough to get old, not remember things.
It's not Windows 10, because you were trying to avoid.
Yeah, I can't. I think yours have Windows 7 on them, but honestly, I'd have to look to make sure. Also, even if it had Windows 7, Microsoft is really pushing it in the middle of the nights. They're upgrading a lot of PCs all by themselves. So, unfortunately, there's no way for me to know what you got without looking. Okay. All right. So look, whatever you've got, the laptop I'm using here has Windows 8.1, and I'm going to be showing you Windows 7 and Macrium Reflect, along with Karen's Replicator. There's something in Windows 10, since most of you had that. They put something in there. It's called file history. Now, that's a whole class all in itself, but it's really important. And if you did this thing called file history, so all you got to do is go search for file history, and it brings up this little software window. And you can turn it on. And if you got Windows 10, what it'll do is whenever you type a document or save a picture, it'll keep a copy of it, and you don't even know about it. And then next week when you type your document and you save it and you made a mistake, you can go back into file history and go backwards in time and say, you know what, I want the one from 2 weeks ago. So that's a whole class all in itself. But if you got Windows 10, it would not be a bad idea to hit the start button. I don't have Windows 10, but you would hit down here. And if you just type in file history, This is Windows 8.1, so the file history will look a little bit different than 10. But if you just go, can you guys see up here where it says file history, where the mouse is? Can you guys all see that way up top here? Okay. If you click on that and activate it, it'll just ask you a few questions, and that's it. That's as hard as it is. That's it. Okay. But that's like anything else. Do you really know what it's doing for sure? So, also that is going to chew up, if you've got a small hard drive, that's going to keep copies of everything, so it's going to cost you some hard drive space. It's not the perfect answer, but it's a good answer. Okay. So when we talk about Karen's replicator, Karenware, it's something I run it every day, and I suggest that you guys do it too, especially if you have pictures. But if you don't do much, if you don't put any new pictures on your computer, there's no sense running the backup again because you didn't change anything. Macrium Reflect should be run every month. And for those of you on a Mac, if you just keep your hard drive plugged in, it'll do it automatically. The Time Machine will do that for you. Okay?
Are you doing the daily ones to your external hard drive too?
That's a good question. The question is, do I do the daily or quick backups to the external hard drive as well? I do. Absolutely. And we'll go through a little of that. In fact, I do everything for a lot of different reasons, and I have dozens of programs and folders, so for me to lose stuff would really be bad. So I don't just back it up to one folder. On my external hard drive, there's a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and there's a Friday folder. So a different backup runs every day and puts it in its individual folder. Most of you probably aren't going to need anything as crazy as that, but if you are in a business, that's something that I bring up in here to keep in mind. Keep multiple copies of your backups, because let's say the thing happened and you were typing a Word document and you backed it up, but then you screwed it up and you backed it up. If you only had one copy of it, they're both screwed up, right? But if you had one in a folder from last week somewhere that you could go get the older copy and it wasn't screwed up, does that make sense? So we keep them, I want to say 2 weeks worth, I think, is what we as a company have. So if I was missing a file, or if more likely it's me screwed it up, if I typed something wrong, I could go back and get a copy from a couple weeks ago and restore that one. Okay. And Reflect to run a full backup once a month, and to answer that question, that they do go to the same hard drive. Okay. Mac users have Time Machine. I think that's about 10 times I've mentioned that, so something really to look into. I think what we should do is just kind of look at this software. At the very end here, I've got some links for you that you can get off the PowerPoint for downloading these things, but it would probably be easier to just send me an email, and then I can just reply to you with an exact link to get the file. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to fire up a fake computer, and we're going to break it. You guys into that? I like breaking stuff. So. All right, so hopefully this will show up on that projector. Yes. So we're running Windows 7. I know some of you are running Windows 7, and Windows 7, 8, and 10 are really all the same. They just look a little different. They're basically the same thing under the hood. So when this is up and running, I'm going to want you to just take a look at the screen, and then I'm going to go break it. And then I'm going to rebuild it in literally moments. You'll see what I'm talking about with this backup stuff. Assuming I can get the thing to power up here, so it's being a little slow. Have any of you been using Karen's Replicator? Some of you have been to this class before? No? Okay. Karen's Replicator is some free software, and what it does is, like any backup software, you create backup jobs with it, and then you run them. And you can tell them to run in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day or wherever. So you've got a little interface there, Karen's Replicator. To make a job, like, you see this top one? Can everybody see that highlighted in blue there? Okay. That's called docs. Clever, huh? If we go to the edit settings over here and then edit the job, I've given the job a name. Can you guys see the name of the job there highlighted in blue? And then the source folder. Now in every backup, it's where are you going to back stuff up from? That's the source. Well, I just picked my documents folder. So I went here and I said documents right there. Okay? Oops. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. And then the destination is where it's going to go to. So if I take this little hard drive right here, see it? Black hard drive, and I plug it in. You know that little ding? That always makes me happy and warm and fuzzy because I know it's working. What I've done is I've plugged it in, and I now have another hard drive. So if I open up my computer, I can see this thing here. It's called the G drive on this machine. Do you see that over there? It may not be the G drive on your machine. It might be the F drive, the E drive. It'll have some letter on it when you plug it in. Okay? You just need to know what that letter is. And it'll tell you the first time you plug it in. Okay? So I'm going to change this over here. I'm going to hit the browse button, and then I'm going to open the computer. You see how I'm doing that? That little arrow opens up the window. Then I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to pick the G drive. See that? And I'm going to say OK. And now it's got a source of the documents folder and a destination of the G drive. Okay? All right. Then you would save the job, and that's all that you have to do, and it'll run that anytime you want it to. If you want it to be scheduled, you can check this box. Can you see right here this checkbox where it says enabled right there? Okay. If you hit change schedule and then you pick the days and times that you want it to run. So maybe I don't want it to run on Sunday. If you notice it says don't run on these days. So you're turning off days, you're not turning on days. I don't really care about Saturday and Sunday. I don't do a lot of work stuff on Saturday and Sunday, so I'll turn those days off. And starting the 12th at 1 a.m., it's going to run this job all by itself. That's it. It's just going to run it. That makes sense? So I don't have to do anything. It'll just fire up and run, assuming I have my computer on. So, but for my work computers at our office, they're always on. They go to sleep when they need to, and they wake up and do these things. So we leave our computers on all the time. Okay?
Well, I do too, but sometimes there's an update and it shuts it off.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes they do updates and they turn them off. My Mac does that too. I'll come in and I had it working on something and it's, hey, your Mac's been rebooted because we did some updates. It's wonderful, but it can be annoying. But there really isn't any way around that because they've got to update the thing. So, okay. So if you want to schedule a job, you just do the schedule piece. But that's all there is to it. To make another job, you just create a new job, hit edit settings, and you could say new job, and you just walk through the same steps. You give the job a name, pictures, source folder. Maybe I'll browse from my pictures folder. See it right there? Pictures? Okay. I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to just say the G drive. So once you get that done and you save the job, then you can run them, or they'll run by themselves, depending on how you set it up. If you schedule it, they'll run by themselves. And if you don't, I don't have my jobs scheduled here on this laptop. But if I wanted to run them, I can just open the software and I can click on it and I can say, you see this one right here says run highlighted job? If I pull the trigger on that, it's going to back all my documents up. Okay. So then it's going to do what's called a backup. It's going to synchronize. You know, if I copied all of my documents or my pictures from my computer to this little black hard drive here, let's say there was 1,000 pictures, and I copied them from my computer to this hard drive. I now got 1,000 pictures on this hard drive, right? Okay. What if I deleted a bunch of them off the computer? And then I copied everything from the computer to the hard drive. It's not going to delete the ones that are missing because I'm just copying stuff. Does that make sense? Karen's replicator is going to do exactly what it says. It's going to replicate. It's not just going to copy new stuff to the hard drive. Anything that's new, it's going to copy, of course. But anything that you've deleted from the computer, it's going to delete from your backup hard drive. That's synchronizing or replicating. It's not just copying. Because over the years, if you're copying thousands of files that you never wanted in the first place, restoring them doesn't make a lot of sense. Is that getting home? Okay. So that's Karen's replicator. Does it seem like that's some software you could use? It's free. It's really, really good stuff. Anybody have any questions on Karen's replicator? Yes, Deb.
So you mentioned that, like if you were backing up every day, that it's kind of like filling up your hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a point where you would say maybe after 2 months, you students go back and just delete them?
Do you mean in that file history thing?
Or on your external one?
The question is, if you're doing backups a lot, are you going to fill up your external hard drive? And is there a point where you're going to go back and say, I want to delete some stuff from 2 months ago? The answer is you shouldn't have to do that. Okay? The Macrium Reflect, which we're going to go through, has the ability to keep 2 copies, 3 copies, 10 copies. Whatever you tell it to keep, it'll keep that many. And then anything that's older than that, it'll delete them for you. So it won't fill up your backup hard drive. That's a good question. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on Karen's replicator? It's really good stuff. Okay.
Before, if you're bringing an external off of another system or something,
Yep.
you have to reformat it before you start plugging it in.
This is a good question. The question is, okay, so I've got a little stick here, or this little black hard drive here, and I run a backup on this laptop. So I back up the laptop you're looking at to this little hard drive right here. If I take this hard drive to your computer, do I need to reformat this hard drive? Absolutely not. I'd be able to plug it in, and I could use this to back up your computer, and then I would have this computer and your computer backed up to here. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Except if I only wanted to use it on mine, and I've used half of the gigabytes already.
Yep.
Then you pay to reformat it.
You could.
And then you have basically a new one.
You absolutely could. The question is, if, like in our case here, we've got a little black hard drive here. Let's say I filled it up halfway with stuff from this laptop, but then I wasn't going to use it on this laptop anymore. There is a way to erase it and start using it on another computer. It's very easy to do, and if you wanted to, I can show you how to do that. I'm not going to show any of you guys how to format a hard drive today, though. No, not doing it today. So, okay, but that's how you back up your files. I really strongly recommend Karen's replicator. I don't have enough experience with that built-in file history to recommend it or not recommend it, but I'd recommend you look into it. How's that? Now that's for your quick or your daily backups. Okay? All right. So, yes,
To get Karen's replicator, then we should email you and you'll send us the link?
that would be the easiest. I've got a link in the PowerPoint you can download, but that's the easiest. Just email me. I'll reply back with a link you can click on and download it. That would be the quickest, okay?
What's your email?
It should be on our stuff up there, but it's P. Davis at Emily Tell,
With 1 or 2 L's.
1 L, Emily Tell, well, actually 2, but 1 at the end and 1 in Emily, but, so, that's a trick question, emilytell.com. That'd be a good one, you could win drinks over that one. 1 L or 2? 1. No, there's 2. Good. Okay, so I'm running a computer here. It's running Windows 7. Can you guys all see that right there? And you see I've got, my Microsoft Word is on here, and, so I got stuff on here, right? What if we lost this? If we lost it, I'd have to go out and rebuild this computer. I'd have to get Windows 7 and I have to reinstall it. Then I got to do 4 million updates. That's going to take about the next 10 years to get it updated. And then I have to find all of my disks, my Microsoft Word, my Microsoft Excel, my scanner software, my printer software. I got to get all of that stuff put back on my computer. Then I got to find all my documents and things that hopefully you've been listening and backing up and copy them all back in. That's great. I can do that. It's going to take a long time. What if I could take a clone of this computer? Not a backup, but a clone. That is what Macrium Reflect does. I don't know who came up with the term cloning, but it's kind of cool. And one of their little icons is a little sheep. You remember they cloned a sheep at one time? So one of their icons is a little sheep. It's kind of silly, but there it is. So if I could clone this computer, that would take all my documents, all my pictures, all my software, and all the shortcuts, everything up on my desktop right there. See, I've got Reflect over here. I got a little folder here. I got Google Chrome. I got WordPad, and I have Karen's replicator to install it right there. Okay, but we're gonna do something that's not in the backup copy. So I want you guys to see that. I'm pretty sure I did this early this morning, but I don't have that in the backup. So when we restore this, that file is going to be gone, but that's going to be the only difference because I took the backup before I put that file on there. Okay? So this is a fully functioning, working computer. You can surf the internet and do all kinds of stuff with it, but we're going to break it. You ever broke a computer before on purpose? No? You guys got to get out of the house more. This is fun. All right, so I'm going to break this thing. Anybody order pizza for the class today yet? We should get some. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate something that's going to break this hard drive. So I'm kind of booting to a special little thing here that maybe some evildoer might do. Or you might not know this is happening in the background because you go to a website and you get that ransomware. So that ransomware would do something kind of like what I'm going to do. It's going to make this computer unusable. Plus, it's got a cute little puppy in it. So, I mean, what's not to like, right? So, does anybody have any questions on the difference between a quick or a daily backup and a full backup or a clone? I would do a full backup once a month, and I would do a daily backup, for me, several times a week. But at least weekly, I would recommend it to anybody who uses their computer fairly often. That way you can rebuild it, and then you can also get all your data back. Okay? Yes, Brian?
Could this clone that you make, what we're going to do now, could you take that and put that on another computer?
That's a good question. The question is the clone that we're going to make, could you clone it to a file and rebuild this same computer? Well, yes, of course, that's what this is for. But could you also take it to another computer and clone that one and have two of the same computers. Technically, yes, it's possible if they're identical computers, but if one's a Hewlett-Packard and one's a Dell, the chances of it working are almost none because it's cloned to the hardware inside the tower. Does that make sense? Legally, you could not do that because you have to buy 2 copies of Windows. So when it comes up and runs, the one you clone would say, hey, your license isn't valid, click here to buy a new license. So it would work for 30 days or something, but eventually you'd have to pay for another copy of Windows. But if you had close enough computers, the process works fine. I've done it many times. Okay?
The reason I ask is we've got 3 Dell computers
Mhm.
bought at the same time. They're identical.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them crashed.
Mm-hmm.
2 years and 1 day after the
After the warranty?
warranty.
Oh,
I'm not kidding.
oh,
And, well, it wasn't exactly 1 day.
but still.
Oh, just over 2 years. I was wondering if I could clone the good one
Mm-hmm.
and put it back on the other 2. I know I have to fix the hard drive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That could be done easily. And then in your case, in that exact case, legally the license you bought goes with the computer, so you would not have to buy another license. The sticker on the side, you can type in that number and then Microsoft will just okay it because you're not breaking any laws. Because that's important. So what do you say we break this thing? I keep saying it, but here. All right. So how hard is it to break a hard drive on a computer? I just did. That's all it takes. So if you think it's a hard or difficult process, the 2 little puppies that are in the background there, just nuke this computer. Oops. My screen's too small with the projector. I'm sorry about that. There. So what I'm going to do is try to boot Windows again. You just saw it working. Can you read that? Let me read it for you. It says fatal init 18 boot failure. With one command, I destroyed that computer. Bip, gone. It's toast. Wow. So now, if we don't have a Macrium Reflect image, I'm starting from scratch. Assuming it's not damaged or destroyed, or in this case, instead of just a hard drive failure, it could be the screen that's coming up saying, we've encrypted your hard drive, pay us lots of money, and maybe we'll give you your files back. But if you had a Macrium Reflect clone of your computer, you can do what I'm going to do, or bring it to me and I'll do what I'm going to do, and then you'll have it all back. Okay? So I'm just going to boot to a magic disk right here, okay? Assuming this works, I should be able to fix this thing for us pretty quickly. So this computer it's toast. If this was your laptop, you cannot fix this. You can't without erasing it and starting all over, and you lose everything. So if you don't have one of these, it's all gone, okay? All right. I promise not to do this to any of you, really. It's just it's a test machine. So. Do you understand the difference between backing up and cloning? Cloning is the entire hard drive and all the software, every shortcut, all your favorites, all your emails, all of it. Whereas a quick backup or maybe a daily backup is just like your pictures and your files, okay? Which that wouldn't do us any good in this case because the whole computer's shot. It's nice that we've got them backed up, but we can't get to them. This computer's toast.
The Well, when you do a full backup,
Mhm.
isn't that everything?
Absolutely. The question was, when you do a full backup, isn't that everything? Yes. And there are folks that only do a full backup because they don't really do that much with their computer. So they back it up with Macrium Reflect once a month, or Acronis True Image is something that maybe you use. I don't recall. That's Acronis. Yeah, it's Acronis True Image is the same program. It's just not free. This one is free. But if you don't do a lot with your computer, you could certainly do a full backup once a month. And then if you lost, your documents, well, that's how it goes. Okay. So now all I have to do is, you don't have to know what I'm doing here. It's not very hard. I'm just browsing for my backup file, and I'm picking it, and then I'm going to restore it. Can you guys see over here I'm saying restore? You see that? All right. I'm just going to restore the one partition that I broke, which is the boot partition. Okay, now I'm pulling the trigger. Anybody play the Jeopardy theme for just a moment here? So whenever this is done, if this was a real computer, it might take 20 minutes or so. This is just a test computer. But still, once I pull the trigger, I just walk away. I don't have to do anything more. I just pull the trigger and I'm done. And then in 20 minutes or so, it's all rebuilt. I'm doing a very small one so we can do it in this class in a minute instead of 20. So now, I'm going to restart this computer. Yep.
If your computer is totally crashed, you have a blank screen.
Yep.
Window of death, as they call it.
Yeah.
How do you get Macrium Reflect to show up to even click on it?
That's a great question. We're going to go through that.
Okay.
Okay? So now I'm just going to tell it to boot. Can you guys see it says hard disk right here? Oops. Apparently I took too long or I bumped something. Okay. So I'm going to pick number 1 and tell it to boot from the hard drive, which 2 minutes ago it wasn't booting from the hard drive, was it? It said fatal disk error. What do you see on the screen now? Yeah, pretty cool for free, huh? But the cool thing is, I rebuilt the hard drive exactly like it was. So I don't have to go put any of that stuff back on the desktop. I don't have to do anything. All my software is there. All my pictures are there. All my favorites, my bookmarks, my emails, everything is right back where it was with one process. Okay? Her question was, my computer's dead. How do I get to where I can see that Macrium screen? Well, honestly, bring it to me. That's really, if you want to just bring it to me, don't screw around, okay? But if you want to do it yourself, that's great. When you put Macrium on there, there's a function in it that says create a boot disk. And it will burn you a CD that you could use in a disaster. You put the CD in the drive and turn the computer on. Most computers will boot to the CD-ROM if there's one in there. Okay? All right? And on a Mac, you know how to boot to a CD. You hold the C key while you're turning it on and it boots to it. Okay. Time Machine has that same thing. So what do you see on the screen up there? I guess I took my backup with Karen's replicator on the desktop. My bad. Okay? But the point is everything is right where we had nothing. It was, the hard drive was gone. It's now back. So in the case of if the hard drive was truly damaged, if it really broke, we could buy a new hard drive. They're $50. Put hard drive in there, do the same thing I just did, and I'd be right back where I was. Wherever I took my last backup. Does that make sense?
Your external drive wasn't plugged in, so I'm a little confused.
That was a little magic trick. Yeah. I'm trying to simulate everything for the class here without having two different computers. So I'm using a virtual computer. So I've got a virtual external hard drive. So yes, I have one that's plugged in. You just can't. Pay no attention to the man behind the mirror, right? Or the curtain, right? So yeah, yes, I actually have one. It's just fake. You can't see it. It's just not there. Okay. You had a question.
What is reflective?
That is the name of the program by Macrium which I am recommending in this class. Macrium Reflect. And again, don't go out trying to download it and find it. Send me an email, because if you go out trying to download stuff, there it is. Just send me an email. It'll be just way quicker and everybody will be happier. Yes, Don?
Off of your newsletter, you gave a website to go to for Macrium.
Yep.
And I go to it, and there's no place when I go this way to click on a free version. It shows the screen.
What's the site? Is it macrium.com?
Macrium.com/reflect free.
Okay. You should be able to download it there. The link that's in the presentation, or if you shoot me an email, it's a direct link to download it.
But when I go to this website, it talks about the free version, but
Yep.
there's no place to make that selection. They've got a store, you go to the store, and then they're trying to sell you 2 different programs, but
Okay.
there's no place that I can check on it.
Okay, well, the link I send you won't be that same link.
Okay.
It'll be something on one of our servers. You just click it and it'll just be there.
All right.
Be the right one. Right? Did I see another question, Deb?
So you mentioned, it would clone or whatever to like a CD. Is that also true with the Acronis True Image?
The Acronis True Image, what you're talking about to a CD, we aren't cloning to a CD. You wouldn't want to do that because a CD is so small compared to a hard drive. It would take 50 DVDs or CDs to back up. But what we were talking about is creating that magic boot disk.
Right, so.
That's the same with Acronis True Image.
Okay.
Exactly the same thing.
So what if you don't have a place for this?
You mean a laptop like mine that has no CD-ROM?
Right.
Her question was, what do you do? You know, a lot of computers you buy now, laptops are real skinny. They want them little and light, so they don't put CDs in them anymore. You just don't, because you use it, once a year? Mine has no CD. I didn't bring it with me, but it looks real similar to this. It's got a little USB plug on it, and it's a little DVD drive. So you can buy these for 20 bucks, and then I can just plug it in on USB, and it's a DVD player and a recorder, and that's it. So I plug it in when I need it, but then I don't have to carry it everywhere I go. It's just available. But man, I tell you, it's less and less and less as time goes on now. So when I set up Macrium Reflect on a computer, you're going to set it up, and if you guys want to, we could run through it once, if you want to run through the setup on it like we did with Replicator. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to assume that you've emailed me, and I've emailed you the link, and you've downloaded and installed it. All you're going to do is you're going to see that there's a little icon up there that says Reflect. It'll be on yours as well. And if you open that, it's going to open the software. Might be a little slow because we're running it on this virtual computer. Good catch on the hard drive, by the way. Good catch. So it's going to come up, and if you look at the screen right now, it's asking me a question. It's saying, hey, you haven't made any rescue media. Do you want to do that? So like the first thing it's going to do, it's going to have you make that CD that you were looking for. The very first thing it's going to do when you turn it on is probably update itself. Okay, so then like the second thing it's going to do is going to ask you about this. You don't have to do it right away. I'm going to say no. But as long as you don't check this box where it says don't ask me again, every time you start it, it's going to nag you until you do it. Okay? I'm just going to say no. And then in Acronis True Image, Deb, and in this one, if that screen didn't come up top here, I don't know what it is in Acronis, but it's like tools or something. It's different. But I could go to this other tasks, and the very top one, can you read that there? It says create rescue media. So I could go create a boot CD anytime I wanted to, if it didn't nag me for it. Okay? So the first screen that you're in is the typical let's make a backup job screen. So it's going to show you the hard drives in your computer. I only have one, and it's the C drive. So I'm going to click this button right here that says image this disk. Do not do the clone this disk, do the image this disk. Bring this up here. And I have my fake This little black hard drive can't really be plugged into this virtual computer, so I got a fake one in there, and it's the E drive. So you know, if you plug one of these in, you get a F drive, a G drive, a E drive, something. So if you look, I've got an E drive in this computer, but that's a fake hard drive. But we're going to use it because that's all I can do. You would normally pick your G drive, F, whatever this thing turned out to be. Okay? So I'm going to say I want it to go to the E drive, and then I give it a name down here. I give it a name like, oh, I don't know, Windows 7 Home. Maybe you'd call it, you know, Don's PC, Sue's PC, something like that. Give it a name. You know, uncheck that box, give it a name, and then say next. Well, okay. Fine. Okay, you got me. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to start over with the program. Sorry about that. Okay, so going to bring up this first window. There's your update screen I was mentioning a minute ago. I'm going to say cancel because I don't really care to update it. But you should. You should let it update when it comes up. I'm going to click the image this disk, not the clone this disk. Well, it's a cloning to a file is called imaging. I'll go through what cloning is. Cloning is, well, we'll do it right now. In your case, Brian had a case where he's got one good machine and he's got two of the exact same computers. We would clone those hard drives. So we would get a blank hard drive and we would clone it from one hard drive to another, which completely and totally erases the other hard drive. Okay? Imaging is cloning, but to a file on a hard drive. So it does not erase the hard drive. Most of the time you should be imaging. Cloning is actually something that's kind of rare for normal folk to do. So we're going to image. Get this up where you can see it again. And I'm going to pick the G drive. I think that's what it's called on this one. Can you guys see I'm picking the G drive up there? Okay, I'm going to say OK. And we'll call this thing Win 7 Home. And again, you might call it, you know, Brian's PC1 or PC2, whatever. Give it some kind of name that you can recognize. Yay, it worked. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck differential. I'm going to leave full checked, and I'm going to say 3 copies. Somebody asked me before, how do you keep it from filling up your hard drive? Right there. It's only going to keep 3 copies. So I'm going to back it up this month, I'm going to back it up next month, and then the next month. Sometime after September, it's going to start deleting the old backups. Does that make sense? So this little black hard drive won't ever fill up now. But that still should allow me 2 to 3 months of being able to go back and get stuff if I broke something. I'm going to say finish. And then you can run the job right now. I'm not going to because it's just a class. But you would normally leave that checked. And then you'd want to give it a name. Full backup. See that? And you could say OK.
Does it date stamp it then?
It does. The question was, does it date stamp it? So in my case, it would say Windows 7 Home, and it puts a number, some sequential number afterwards so you can know what the newest and the oldest ones are. Okay? That was it. We just made a backup job. Was that hard? Not really. But would I expect you guys run home right now and put Macroom Reflect on your computer and do all the things that we just did here? I think we should maybe do one more job just to reinforce it, because you can go watch this in a couple days. This will be out on the website. You can go watch these exact steps. I'm sure you can go to YouTube and find a video on it too, but this is this class, so you might want to do that. All right. So there's some little tabs up here that say create a backup. That's the screen that it goes to normally. This is the backup definition files. That's the jobs you've created. And these are the scheduled backups. I haven't scheduled any because I'm not doing anything automatic on this computer. Okay? I'm just going to do it whenever I want to. So I would open up Macroom Reflect, and instead of being here and saying image this disk, I would just go to my backup files, and I just made a, see that one that says full backup? We just created that one. You can just run it. I can right click on it and I can just say run now. You guys see it says run now right there? I can just say run now, full backup, and that's it, done. It'll just go. So I don't need to schedule it. And a full backup, really, unless you're doing them every night, you really shouldn't schedule a full backup. You want to do this when you want to do this. You know, you don't want to be sitting there on your computer and all of a sudden, boom, it comes up and wants to run a full backup. Okay?
So that's what you do once a month.
This is what I do once a month right here, this exact process. In fact, if you want to see what I do, once I got done creating the job, you see how it's named full backup? If I right click on it and I go down to the second one from the bottom, see what it says there? It says create a shortcut on the desktop. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to just say OK. It's the job and the full backup. I'm just going to say OK. It doesn't look like anything happened. But the next time that I want to run it, look what it did for me. Can you guys see right there? It created a shortcut that says full backup. So I don't have to open Macroom. I can just double click on that. Probably say yes to it. And off it goes. You can just let it go. I'm going to cancel it because we're not going to do it here. But if you said OK there, that's it. We'll just take off and run. So if it had old backups on my hard drive, it would delete them. It would make a new one and keep up to 3, which is what we told it in this job. Okay? You guys want to make one more job just to see it again? Okay.
If you schedule just like in the middle of the night when you're not using your computer,
Uh-huh.
and your computer is hibernating,
Mhm.
will it still do it?
It's a good question. So let's say we did this job and we did make a schedule for it. Okay? And we said 10 o'clock, Tuesday night. That's tonight, right? 10 o'clock Tuesday night? Okay. So at 10 o'clock Tuesday night, run this job. Just do it. But then I drove away and was out doing something and I forgot and the computer went to sleep. Or maybe I turned it off. Will it automatically run the job? It will not. But the next time you turn your computer on, it will come up and go, hey, I didn't run this backup job. Do you want me to run it? Does that make sense? Okay. There is actually a way to force it to turn the computer back on. It just takes a few more steps. But, okay, so we're going to be in the normal screen, the regular screen, and it's got all the hard drives in the computer on it. This one up top here is our main hard drive, and this one down here is this one. See that? You can always tell because if one of these partitions up here, these little blocky things, it's going to have the letter C on it. Do you see that? Really, that's not, I'm not trying to joke there or nothing, but do you see that right there? Every computer has a C drive. So if you see the one that's got the C drive, that's the one that you want to back up. So we're going to image this disk, not clone it. And we're going to go to the G drive. And we're going to give it a different name. I don't know. Seminar test. Okay. And then I'm going to say next. And I'm going to turn off differential. And I'm going to turn on 5 full backups. Not that I care. And on this job, I'm going to add a schedule. You guys see that right there? I'm going to add a full schedule. I'm going to do it weekly. See where that dot went? Tuesday. What did we say? 10 o'clock? 2200. Starting tonight. And right here, Deb, is that checkbox I was saying. You probably can't read it back there.
No.
But this checkbox right there says, if missed, run at next startup. So that right there will give you a little comfort. Say next, and then you say finish. And I'm not going to run it, so I'm going to uncheck the run this job now because it's just for the class. And then I'm going to say Tuesday full. Can you see that? I'm giving it a name. That's it. Done.
How long does the backup take? I mentioned it depends on how much stuff's in there,
The-
but what's the average time?
The question is, how long does the backup take? And it's anywhere from 15 minutes to a couple hours. It completely depends on how fast the computer is. If you're using USB 2 or 3, the new computers, you plug these drives in, they're about 3 or 4 times faster on the new computers. So the age of the computer matters, how much stuff you have matters, size of your hard drives. There's a lot of factors. Anywhere from, one of mine takes less than 10 minutes because there's almost nothing on it. One of mine takes 4 hours because it's got crazy stuff on it. Okay? All right. I suppose I should get rid of some of these so that my computer won't start backing up. So when you start Macrium Reflect, you're going to be at this screen where the general is. I'm going to go to the backup definition files. I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to say delete. I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to say delete. And then I'm going to click on the Tuesday full and I'm going to say delete. So now I don't have any schedules, I don't have any jobs, nothing. But that way in the middle of the day my computer won't start backing stuff up. Okay? Wow, that was a lot of stuff. That was a lot. So the key points really are, you should have one of these. Online backup services are nice, but I am not totally cloudy. I am partly cloudy. I want this in my hand and I can throw this in my fireproof safe. I know I got what I need right there. Also, for me to rebuild this computer, I did it in about 30 seconds for you guys in the class. Rebuilding a computer probably take 15, 20 minutes typically to redo it. Well, if I was going to do that from an online service, that might take 2 days. Does that make sense? Because you're getting everything over the internet. How fast is the internet? How much data do you have to bring? So there's a lot of factors involved. Okay. Also, this gives you the option to use this free software and completely clone your hard drive to a file. That's the imaging process. So, everybody knows that these are not permanent storage. Anybody backing up to DVDs anymore? Haven't seen that. People used to do that. They put all their stuff on DVDs. That's not a good idea. DVDs don't last forever. The material it's got about a 5-year lifespan. So on the ones that you create yourself, might work forever, but they're light sensitive and they fade. A little dye in them. So, did I cover all your questions? Does anybody have any questions they got?
Just to be sure, with the Macrium, you could back up 2 different computers as though you're just using one hard drive?
Yep.
On each one?
Yep. The question is, with Macrium, can you back up more than one computer? Yep. You would download Macrium and install it on 4 computers, whatever. It's free for personal use. And then you can, if you get a big enough hard drive, okay, you can use the same hard drive on all the computers. Because if this thing is 2 terabytes, which is 2,000 gigabytes, and my hard drive is only 200 gigabytes, I got a lot of room to spare, don't I? So I could plug it in, and then if you follow what we said, when you're making the job, give it a name like Sue's PC or Al's PC, maybe PC1 or upstairs. Give it a different name. Well, then when it goes to the hard drive, it'll just be a different named file. So you could have multiple. Yes.
Those little drives ever wear out?
Question is, do these little drives ever wear out?
Like the E and G and
These little buggers?
Yes.
Yes, they do. They absolutely will wear out. Especially, it's really, I don't want to say if you buy something on sale, it's not going to be any good, but I bought lots and lots of these. I just got 3 of them for $15. I was like, oh, that's a steal. So I grabbed 3 pretty good sized ones. All 3 of them are in the trash because they quit working within a month. So it really depends on the quality and how much you pay for it. You don't got to spend $100 on these, but you want to spend $20 to get a good one, something like that. But yes, these will fail. They are made to fail.
I've also got an outdoor camera that I have the little scan discs in.
The little S disc chippy on it.
And I can stick them in the computer
Yep.
and I can get the pictures out of them.
Yep.
Sometimes they won't work.
Yep.
And I'm wondering why.
Well, there's a lot of things that can cause that right there. I'd have
The
to.
light will flash on the computer.
Yeah.
And it's not connected, so maybe I need to bring it in and.
You might, and there's also sometimes that little slot, like I got one on the side of this computer. Sometimes that doesn't work, but they make a little thing you can get. Plugs into USB, and you plug the chip into
I
that.
got that too. And that's,
Does it do the same thing?
yeah.
That's an interesting one. I'd have to see that someday. Okay. All right, but the answer is those also. Some encyclopedia salesman, I think. So these are not meant to last forever. And if this is your only backup for all your important stuff, go get another one. Okay. Or please listen to me and get one of these. Okay.
You sell those?
We don't sell those, no, but I could tell you where to go get them. Or if you go into Best Buy or Walmart or they've got boxes and boxes of them. Okay. And I don't recommend you buy their warranty policy or anything. Just yeah. So, anybody have any questions?
Paul?
Yes.
So you said Paul Davis at Emily and Tell.
It's P Davis, not Paul. It's P Davis. Yep, at emilytell.com.
It is com.
Yep.
Not net.
There's one in.
Only it was 2 L's. Okay, so next month we're going to be doing something really cool. It's a little different, but it might be fun to watch because anybody can do this. At my house, I have a computer just like this laptop, and I can close the cover on it. But you notice it's still on the projector? So I'll be showing it next month. I have a keyboard that just, it's wireless, of course. So I can sit back on the couch, and there's a computer hooked up to our big TV. So I have this exact screen up on the TV.
So we're coming to your house.
You guys can come over. We'll do pizza. Yeah, come on over. We'll have the class there. Come on over. But what I do with that, what my wife and I do is, you can get a smart TV that has a Netflix app, right? How many of you got one of them? You got Amazon Prime. You can use a remote. Okay. You know the carpal tunnel you got using that remote, right? And how mad you get because you can't. It's just. What if you could use a real keyboard and just double click on the internet and go to Netflix? What if you could do that? If I went to Netflix right now, and it works, and logged in, I'm the one guy in the world that's not supposed to have computer problems, right? It's not supposed to be me. No, it's because I'm hooked up to all these different things with the virtual network and things. So, but I could open Netflix, and on this little keyboard, it's got a touchpad just like a laptop. So I got a mouse and a keyboard and a little wireless keyboard just like this. So I can surf the internet in a real internet browser. You ever surf the internet on one of those smart TVs? You ever gone to the internet? Tried to search for something on YouTube with the remote? Where you want to pick, I'm going to search for something. What happens is it comes up with a screen with a bunch of letters that you got to use the remote and go A, X, B, C. You got to move all the letters, and by the time you're done, I forgot what I was searching for. I don't even remember anymore. But if you could use a regular computer, wouldn't that be cool? Apparently, I don't seem to be able to do that right now. Actually, I don't know if my internet on my phone is working. I think that's what the problem is. But I could pull up Netflix right here. And instead of having a class next time, we could just watch a movie. What do you think?
And pizza.
And pizza. Yeah, there you go. So unfortunately, my phone, the internet's not working properly. But otherwise, Netflix would come up. That'd be it. We'd be watching a movie. Yes, Brian?
Is your phone the hotspot?
It
For
is.
the internet, for what we're doing?
For right here, yeah. So, and I'm having a little bit of reception. I'm not sure if it's the building or what, but so I'm having just a little trouble with that.
Now, is that an extra option? I mean, do all smartphones do that? Or do
That's a
you
good question. Not all smartphones do it, and not all plans do it. Our plan, it costs a few extra bucks a month to have that ability, but each one of us out in the field has to have that because we need to be able to get our computers to hook to the office when we're out in the middle of nowhere. So we have the hotspot capability. I don't remember, it's an extra fee every month to have that capability. But then it turns my phone into a small Wi-Fi router. But it's great when it's great and it works. But when it doesn't work like in here, there's nothing I can do. It just doesn't work right. So.
Another question.
Mm-hmm.
You've been showing us how you can project from your computer onto a smart TV.
Uh-huh.
Can you also project from a smartphone to a smart TV in the same manner?
Question is, for next month, we're going to talk about how to hook up a small computer to a television and have a really, really smart TV. It's really pretty awesome. You might like it. And I promise to have decent working internet by then, okay? Can you also do that with a phone? Absolutely. Who's got an iPhone, Apple in here? Okay? You need a box. Okay? You need a Apple TV box. You guys have an Apple TV? Okay? But if you have an iPad, an iPhone, an iSomething, okay? You can, from your screen, project right up onto the screen. So you can take your phone, and instead of just, showing the pictures and looking at your little screen, your screen will go right up on the TV. And you can show the pictures right on the TV. But you need an Apple TV box to do that. They're not very expensive. It's a little box that hooks up, plugs into the TV, then your phone talks to that little Apple TV box. Okay? My Samsung phone has Miracast in it. Anybody got a Android? Yeah? Okay. My phone has it in where I can actually it's got an app built in that talks right to my TV. So I can say, do that thing, and up comes my phone right on the TV. It's a Miracast on this one.
Miracast?
Yeah, but there's a different app. For different Androids, it's a little different, but it's available. Anybody else have any questions? Like, why doesn't my internet work in this class? Anything like that? Well, if you don't have any questions, I think we're free to go. Thanks for coming, everybody. Appreciate it. Nice seeing you.